there, it's Susanna. We're going to be doing a reading today for April the 28th through May the 4th using oracle cards. And I got chastised a little bit about giving all the credit on the oracle cards that I'm using. So I've been saying that I'm using Amanda Ellis's deck. And I neglected to mention the artist who is really at the focal point of how I do the reading by looking at the images on the cards. And her name is Jane Delaford Taylor. And my humble apologies, Miss Taylor. I will be sure to put you into the comments, and I hope you know by simply watching one of these videos how much I enjoy your cards. So thank you. So homework aside, let's talk about the cards from last week, because for me, they really came true. I don't know if they came true for you, but ton of work going on in our family unit, mentoring our young sons, being open-minded, and this idea of a betrayal, and that being a catalyst. And then this card, this Night's Watch card, let me get it in focus for you. I still think this one is coming. This feels like it's still, this preparation card is still ongoing, so we'll see what happens in this week's reading. And then, yeah, the stock market card was 100% accurate. It rallied. It continues to rally. After I do this weekly reading, I'm going to pull a card on President 47. On 47's visit to the Pope's funeral. That has a lot of funky energy to me, and I just want to see what kind of guidance we can get on that. In case you're new here, I am a pro-democracy channel. For me, that means I'm not particularly happy with a lot of the administrative overreach that's going on right now. So if that isn't aligned with your beliefs, I don't judge you at all, but you may not love my content, and I want you to, the point of this channel is to encourage, and if this doesn't do that for you, then please feel free to find someone else who does, and all my love and blessings to you. So, yeah, sorry, had to get that out of the way. Okay, so let me pull the deck up, and like I normally do, I'm just going to stick last week's cards into the middle of it, in front of you, so you can see that. Give them a good shuffle. And I've, spilled them. God source. I've already done my prayer. I always do my prayer off camera now. God source, thank you for this beautiful spring day. We got a lot of rain last night. It's been a busy, busy week. Tell us about the week coming up. What can you tell us about the week coming up, April the 28th through May the 4th? What is going to be going on in the North American collective mentally? Now, let's do spiritually first. Spiritually. That tends to be the furthest out kind of card. What is going to be going on in the North America spiritually? Oh, they're telling me I need to do a proper bridge. Good shuffle. All right. This is a human limitation that I have, shuffling these big cards. Okay, they're happy with that. Okay, spiritually, God source, what is going to be going on next week, the 28th of May through 28th of April through May the 4th? Prayer, contemplation, and connection. Contemplation and connection. These cards really are so beautiful, Miss Taylor. Thank you for drawing them. Wow, so there are a ton of airplanes in this card, and I'm really being drawn to that. Spiritually. If you're traveling this next week, it might be a little bit bumpy. This feels like spiritually unsettledness around travel, and I'm really being drawn to the the airplanes and the cityscape here. God source, what are you trying to say about this? If you're traveling this next week, you might want to give yourself some extra time. We talk about being prepared before, maybe keeping water, a little bit of nuts and food, or whatever with you. This feels like travel disruptions and a real concern in our big cities spiritually. So, in the spiritual senses. So, yeah, this is a beautiful card, but this feels a little troubling to me. Okay, we'll put that aside. All right, emotionally, God source, what are we going to be? What tips, what warnings, what predictions can you give us that will better prepare us emotionally for this next week? Wisdom bringer, Earth School. Wisdom bringer, Earth School. I'm getting chills. This card is about the fact that we all choose this life path. We all choose our individual life paths in order to learn and to grow, to have experiences. This is very similar to the Catalyst card from last week, which was to say that our time of learning our lessons is at hand. And I feel like this is aligned with the astrological. One of my good friends knows way more about this than me, and I feel like this astrological time period is also aligned for lessons. And so emotionally, we may be confronted with some of our life lessons in this next week. They're showing me like tripping over it. So a life lesson often is something that we continually trip over. It's a wound we haven't healed from that we get triggered. If, for example, they're just giving me this, so I'm going to share it with you. If you struggled with a borderline person in your life, you may have chosen a life lesson to learn how to set appropriate boundaries or to stand up for yourself, to have that difficult, loving but boundaried relationship. And that's just one example, but that would be an example of a life lesson. It's something that we think we learn it, and then it comes back to see how we do this next time. So that's what this card means to me. These are kind of heavy cards. Okay, mentally, God source, what is going to be in our sphere next week mentally? Just flip it over. The open door, Christ within you. This is an encouraging card. The open door, Christ within you. They're showing me looks like a cell, like a prison or a cell, and then they're showing me a bird cage. So it's the same metaphor of being closed inside something, and there being an open door that you are not choosing to walk out of. And so to me, this feels like old patterns and maybe being confronted kindly. It's confronted is the wrong word. What word are you looking for? Being nudged of other opportunities or other open doors that maybe you have not wanted to see or to take, because it's hard to do something new. Is hard. So this is a card about, in your mental spaces, another option. Not going around the same circle, doing the same thing. Shakespeare has a quote, I think, something like, humans are like, they have one leg shorter than the other, and they go in circles their whole life without realizing it. I'm sure I just massacred that, but they showed me that. And so this idea of recognizing the circle that you're going in and being aware, that's very important, being aware of a different pattern or path. And so that this feels like new opportunities and new ways of confronting the same problems in new ways, because you've grown from your from your from your soul path, your life path. Physically. All right, this card is usually right in our face. Physically, God source, what can you tell us about next week? Let's prepare for next week. Physically, what is going to be in the physical vibration next week for North America? Pull out the top. Lion-hearted, stand firm. Lion-hearted, stand firm. What do you get from that card? I know enough about the people watching this now to know that you have plenty of clair senses on board yourselves. Think about your week next week, what you've got coming up, what is going to be confronting you or in your physical spaces, and how does this card speak to that? Lion-hearted physical spaces. To me, this speaks to waiting. Just standing firm and waiting. So, as we look at this reading, we've got some concerns around travel. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. This feels a little bit like if you're traveling this next week, maybe take a little bit of preparation. It's a lot more dangerous to drive than it is to fly, so I'm not telling you not to get on planes or anything like that, but maybe if you are traveling, be a little slower and more deliberate and contemplative about it. It says contemplation on it, so there you go. And then this one, this beautiful card, life lessons. Life lessons. We are confronting them all the time. We don't realize it. And so maybe this is an opportunity for you to actually recognize your life lesson. And then the open door, the opportunity or the chance to respond differently to something, to walk through a door that is open that you have not been able to before in your mental spaces. And then lion-hearted, this is in the physical card. So this, to me, this just speaks to being steady, not overreacting, being contemplative. So, all right, so that's the weekly reading. I'm going to, here in a minute, not yet, I'm going to turn off the camera and do my channeled message, which always adds to what I've gotten from the cards, and it's really a beautiful opportunity to sum it all up from my spirit team. But before we do that, I want to pull a card about 47. Some people say F47. You know what that means. If most of my viewers will anyway. His trip to the Vatican, to the funeral of the Pope, it feels really misaligned. That's why it's caught my attention claircognitively and clairvoyantly, is it feels misaligned with, and I'm not Catholic. I don't even know that much about the Pope, to tell you the truth. I don't know if he was revered in his religious circles. I don't even know if he will go down in history as a good Pope. But it feels like a misaligned, let's just say, okay, so what they're giving me is like the Catholic Church, for all of its barbarism over the years or whatever, it stands for something. It stands for taking care of the needy. It stands for, like a lot of organized religions, all of them. It has a certain set of values that are about, at least profess to be about caretaking. They're giving me the verse to take care of the widows and the orphans. I think that's in the Bible. So this idea of care for humanity as opposed to profit, greed, self-centeredness, and you can disagree with me politically. I'm not really trying to make a political statement, even though I'm not for the things this administration is. But the idea of going to the funeral, it feels it feels like the whole universe is just like that. That just is not right, and it feels like he's going for the wrong reasons. It just feels like a powder keg of chaos. And so I just want to check in on that. Okay, God source, what do we care to know about that? We want to know if his trip abroad is going to destabilize the United States. I'm not going to even say further. If it's going to destabilize the United States more, I want to say more, but I'm going to rein that in because that's like a judgment call. He's going to destabilize, or if Trump himself is going to be, if his life path is going to be in peril. And I'm just getting claircognitively, I'm seeing a lot of side like conversations and quiet conversations. I think that another reason for this trip for him is to be able to have conversations without the scrutiny. It's opportunities for conversations with world leaders more privately. So then my question, oops, I'm upside down here. My question then is, I may pull more than one card. Okay, so the first question is, will 47's visit destabilize the United States further? Sorry, God, forgive me for my judgment there. All right, pulling this one off the top. Pilgrimage, onward steps. Pilgrimage, onward steps. This is up, okay, so this has a lot of energy. I'm immediately being pulled to the fact that these are steps that are going upward, and that it is a trudge. And so the question was about destabilizing. He is going to be met with rancor and derision. I think that's a word, derision. He is not going to be greeted as the hallowed king that his ego expects and wants. And this feels like this is going to be very affronting to him. So so the question was, will it destabilize America? The answer is yes, because if he's destabilized even more by the judgment from the world, there's no telling what he'll do, how he'll react, what he will say. So this feels like the answer is yes, it will destabilize us more. Pull another card. My other question was, I already know that he's going to be taking this opportunity to talk to other world leaders privately. It feels a little underhanded and nefarious for his personal gain. Is his life, his human life, in danger in that situation? Okay, I'm going to put aside my own bias because I want to say yes, but I want to know, is his human life in any danger just from this one trip? just from this one trip. We just want to pull it into the Pope's funeral. I don't even know when this thing is. I guess I should look that up. Anyway, okay. Is his life in peril on this trip? Peace, calm, center, calm mind. I know what the cards are. I know what the card is saying, but this feels like a yes to me. These rocks are like not. They're balanced very precariously. I think there is. I'm just going to say, to me, this feels like there's a potential timeline where he may be in peril. And that his team, whoever is protecting him, is going to be working really hard to keep him safe, because these little side conversations, all these little ad hoc things, there's going to be a lot of unscheduled events, and it's hard to protect someone when you don't have all the information about, where they're going to be, and this feels like a yes to me. All right, it feels like a yes to me. All right, so I'm not going to do my channeling on these, the visit to the Pope's funeral. I think the cards are as clear as I want to be, or as vague as I want to be. Let's put it that way. I do not wish him harm at all. I want him to come back safe and sound and of a good, peaceful mind. And yeah, we'll hope for that. And we'll see what happens. So I'm going to turn off the camera now, and I'm going to do my channeled message, and I'm going to try talking to a microphone, because the more I've done this, the faster the words are coming. And so we'll see how that works out for me, but I'll report back in just a minute. Okay, let me just read you what they said. All right, so they said, and I need, next time I need to make a note to ask who I'm getting this information from, because I had assumed it was my own spirit team, but it feels like I'm a little bit shaky, and I'm always a little bit shaky, and so I think it may be a little higher up in the ethers, and I need to check on that. But for now, it's a very clear message and a very beautiful message. We wish to speak to the card which you pulled, and which you referenced as the human life path, and that was this card, if you can remember that one. And indeed, in this moment, this card has tremendous significance, not only for your North American country, but also for the world. And we remind you that each human has chosen a life path before their incarnation, a path which challenges them to grow their soul, yes, but also a path which enables them to experience emotions, that is love and heartbreak, the victories and the challenges of the human life, which we say is unique to your existence in your human form. We wish for you to have these experiences wholly, and for you to have these experiences wholly, it does mean that you will experience hardship. You may view this hardship as a punishment or chastisement or a judgment from a divine source that you cannot truly understand in your mortal world. We wish to tell you it is not. It is with awe and honor that we attempt to guide you from beyond the veil, and to encourage you to face these hardships, and indeed to learn from them so that you do not have to repeat them. There are some lessons which you will struggle with repeatedly, as a rock in your path that you trip over. And so I'm calling this message, actually, one potential theme could be the rock in the path that you trip over. You will, or you have the capacity to learn to step over it, the rock. And to learn how to do this was your intention when you chose to put the rock in your path before you incarnated. And we know that this is beyond the religiosity of your time, And we know that in some senses this may be seen as blasphemy. Big words. And you spoke of the Pope, and we tell you that he is here on the other side of the veil, and he is delighted to no longer be suffering, for in his latter years his physical body broke down greatly, and you wondered if there was some sort of conflict with your leader going to his funeral. And we say this is not offensive at all to him. Indeed, on this side of the veil, he sees humanity with even more love and appreciation for the difficulty of human life than he did even in his elevated position of understanding God's source. So that was kind of interesting. A little peep into the delight of the Pope, I guess. And then I said, what other messages would you have for us? And they said, we also point to the card of the open door, and we say to those watching that the open door is not always seen. This is the point of the visual message we gave you, that the open door is always there, but you have looked past it. In this moment, there is opportunity to see diverging paths and diverging futures. This has not happened in the same way before for those that populate your earth now. That's interesting. You have spoken of the astrological influences, and we do not discount this. I thought that was really cool and fascinating. And then I said, are there any worries with travel? And they said, we only say, do not be afraid to travel, but the disruptions will be coming and they will affect your travel. But the lion-hearted card that you pulled is appropriate for preparing for these things as well, for your lives do go on, and they can go on joyfully even in this challenging moment, and we encourage you to find the joy. So be it, which lots of times when I'm channeling, I'll get so be it or amen, amen, amen. I'll get some sort of like, and then the energy will change, and I thought I was done, and then all of a sudden this came through, and this is very deep. You wrestle now with materialism and what you assign value to, life or things. And this may feel simplified to you in some way, but it is a very deep spiritual question. For the human body requires food and shelter and water, and it was created in this way, not to be wholly autonomous. I just want to stop there and just say, yeah, wow. So that's pretty, anyway, I think that's really profound. You may have these things to, you must have these things to survive, which are acquired and in your world paid money for in order to live. This creates conflict. There's my wow. I was a little early with my wow. But this idea that we have to have things that we pay for in order to survive, but we arrive on this earth in a conflict, in a bind, so to speak. And it almost feels like maybe that bind is an intentional way for us to learn our lessons, for us to learn about the things we chose to learn on our soul path. I think this is really profound. We show you a seesaw in your mind. A balance exists between valuing the life itself and valuing the things which allow you to sustain the life. Which will you choose when you must have both? This has been in conflict for a long time, millennia, a life sustained and a life itself. And from time to time, there has been devalue on the human life and an overvalue on things. And particularly for your North American country, you are struggling to define how much is enough for one human to sustain themselves. How much must they keep for themselves? How much will you give to your neighbor? We ask you to consider this and ponder it in your heart. Yes, we say ponder it in your heart, which is actually a phrase from the Bible. I think it was about Mary pondering her pregnancy in her heart, if I remember right. How much do you need and how much do you not need? We show you now the Buddhist monk who every morning goes out with his bowl to gather food that is given to him generously from his populace. And the monk does not know if he will get his food for the day, but he trusts that he will be taken care of by the generosity and the goodness of the people around him. And in this tradition, it creates a value on generosity and on giving to the monk for his service. We ask you, where in your life do you go out and both expect your bowl to be filled and also where you can fill another's bowl? And this is the question for the moment. So that's pretty profound. Pretty profound. So that's the reading and the channeling for the upcoming week, and also a bit of extreme philosophical poking from my spirit team or my guides. And yeah, I hope this has blessed you, and I hope that you're encouraged. And I got so carried away, I didn't even ask. Please comment. Let me know how you found this video, if you liked it, what you think about what the guides have to say. Yeah, and I'm not sure what I'll call this, of all the seesaw or the rock in the path or the monk with the bowl. I mean, it's just a really rich reading about this moment in the mortal coil, as they like to say, I guess. Yeah, like, subscribe. I'll be back next week. I'm doing these readings weekly, and if you'd like to book a session with me, the information is below. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.